The final discard. He told me he never wanted to see me again so long as he was alive. That is it. This time. It really is over. She told me I was useless, pathetic, that she hated me, and she would call the police if I came near here again. I don't understand what is going on, but all I know that it is the absolute end. He made it clear that there is no future for us, that he cannot stand the sight of me, and that he wants me packed and gone by morning. This is it. It really is it. This time. She has taken everything and left me a letter explaining that she cannot do it any more, that she needs to find herself, whatever that means, and there is no future for us together. I knew this was coming. I could tell. I have been given the final discard. The final discard, the curtain of conclusion, the guillotine of totality. It really is over. So often, victims of our kind distinguish between being discarded, and then there is, await dramatic music, the final discard. There is being kicked to one side by us, but the prospect of being hoovered back in, and then there is the final discard, whereby you have been removed from your association with us, and it is the end of the entanglement, and there will be no more entanglement between you and I. Victims often consider declaring that this time is the final discard, and they do this for two reasons, which interestingly are conflicting. The first reason is that they desperately hope that it is not the final discard at all, and that when they explain to whoever is listening to them, recount the minute-by-minute dynamic of this final discard, that the person will tell them that actually it's not. The victim is hoping that the listener will provide some cogent reason, some piece of evidence that will explain that it cannot be the final discard, and thus fulfill that which blazes at the heart of all empathic individuals: hope. The victim does not want the entanglement to end. He or she cannot bear the pain. They do not want this to be their exile, their abandonment, or their expulsion. They want to remain with us, but fear that this time it really is the end, and they are crying out for someone to tell them that it is not, just so they can cling to a hope. The second reason is because the victim does indeed hope that it is over, so they are freed from our monstrous clutches. They want that to be the end. The victim, either at the time or some time after this final discard, having gained some knowledge and understanding, ascertains that what they did caused significant wounding, although they are often wrong about that, and that this wounding was such a degree that it sent us packing with our tail between our legs, skulking away, broken, humiliated, and shame pouring from us, so that we will never ever dare risk returning to you. The victim concludes that what they did has sent us packing, and we will not darken their doorstep or their inbox again. It is an understandable conclusion to reach. There is no such thing as a final discard. There is no such thing as a discard. There is only ever disengagement. This is because, in our minds, you belong to us, and the narcissistic relationship lasts until you die or we die. That is only when finality applies to the connection between you and I. You are our property. You are our fueling appliance. You are good, and then you are bad. You are of use, and then you are of no use, and then you are of use again. We have invested time and energy in you. We want to reap the benefits time and time again. If you are our primary source, we will disengage with you. We paint you black and do not want anything more to do with you at that time. It may appear as if we have discarded you, but it is merely the termination of the formal relationship. You are not our girlfriend, partner, wife any longer. The narcissistic relationship persists. We do not draw fuel from you. We do not take your character traits. We do not take your residual benefits. You are deleted as we enter a golden period with a new primary source. If you are an intimate secondary source, we will disengage with you. You are placed on the shelf back in the cupboard, ready for the next time we want to engage with you. You are not deleted, you are just not required. For now, there is no discard. You are usually not devalued. If you are, then you have offended us, and there will be a disengagement, a determination of the formal relationship, of booty call, friend with benefits, shag partner, whatever it may be. If you are a non-intimate secondary source, we disengage with you. You are placed on the shelf again until the next time we wish to engage with you. Most non-intimate secondary sources do not notice this happen because they regard it as a natural lull in between meeting up, speaking with one another, and so forth. Again, it is rare for the non-intimate secondary source to be devalued, but if you are, then you have offended us, and the formal relationship is terminated. You are no longer our friend. If you are a tertiary source, be it intimate or non-intimate, you will be put to one side as we disengage. There is no formal relationship to terminate. We may return to you, or we may not. It depends on our fuel needs. Thus, you need to understand that there is only ever a disengagement. The narcissistic relationship persists. If there is no devaluation, we consider the formal relationship to remain in place. Thus, you remain our booty call, our friend. But we have no need to call on you at the present time. If there is devaluation, it may be to get you back into line as an intimate partner secondary source or a non-intimate secondary source, and it will be short-lived. Alternatively, that devaluation occurs because you are no longer functioning as that intimate partner secondary source or non-intimate secondary source, and then the formal relationship will be over. You are no longer our friend with benefits, or you are no longer our friend, and we disengage. It is usually us who decide on this disengagement. Whether there is devaluation and disengagement, or it's straight to disengagement, it is invariably us that makes this decision. If you reject us, then it is an escape, and of course, we will endeavour to hold on to you. What though is the situation where you have actually wounded us considerably, either as we disengaged or, more likely, when you make your escape? Surely that brings about finality. That must mean we do not want to engage with you any longer, because you have mortally wounded us, and as a consequence, if you did this as we disengaged with you, then we will never return, yes? If you did it as part of the escape you implemented, then is it not correct to state that we will not hoover you? No, it is not. As mentioned many times, there is always a risk that we will come back and hoover you. There needs to be a hoover trigger activated by you entering a sphere of influence. Thereafter, the hoover execution criteria has to be achieved. This includes various matters to balance, some increasing the risk of meeting the criteria, others diminishing that risk. This includes the type of narcissist you are dealing with, how your fuel was regarded, whether you provided character traits, whether you provided residual benefits, whether you are with somebody new, whether you have recovered from a position of being broken or not, how easy it is to contact you, how easy it is to make physical contact with you, whether we know you have been lamenting our disengagement, whether you have been angry about our disengagement, or whether there are outstanding issues such as money, property, etc., whether there are obstacles, whether there is a risk of wounding. Thus you can see the savage wounding you may have inflicted on the last occasion we interacted is but a consideration in the criteria. Yes, it may well be an important consideration when viewed against the other criteria, but it will not in itself amount to a final discard. No matter how damning we were about you, how we may well have used words such as never, do not, Forever or always, we are pragmatists. It is the practical need of fuel which governs all that we do. Contradiction and hypocrisy do not concern us. We can perform a 180-degree turn, a volte-face, or a complete turnaround, and it matters not. Those were yesterday's words. We do not discard. We will always come back if the Hoover trigger is activated and the Hoover execution criteria are met. There is no such thing as a final discard, and that is my final word on the matter.